dip to the merest thumbscrew, Tyson, courteously and impartially, the purest cajolery to coax him to deny those cock and bull murders for which there isn't a scrap of evidence.
How does he take it? He hasn't denied them?
On the contrary, he says he has committed petty larceny, abduction, peculation, and incendiarism. As for the woman, Jeanette Jourdain...
Ah, yes. Jeanette Jourdain. What are we to make of her? Wealthy, they tell me, and if she's a witch, the town will get her property. But on the other hand, she's quite affectingly handsome. Sad, you know. We see where the eye cannot come, eh, Topical?
Now, no poetics, Tyson. Blow your nose and avoid lechery. Keep your eye on the evidence against her. There's plenty of it there. It is my belief the woman Jourdain got hold of the male prisoner by unlawful supernatural soliciting and bewitched him into a confession of murder to draw attention away from herself. But the more we coax him to withdraw his confession, the more crimes he confesses to. He says he is the devil incarnate.
I know I'm not a practical person. Legal matters and so forth are Greek to me. Except, of course, that I understand Greek. But what may seem nonsensical to men of affairs like yourselves may not seem so to me. Now, why should a fellow like this want to be hanged?
I believe you mean to tell us, Chaplain.
I imagine he finds the world not entirely salubrious. And if he cannot be stayed with flagons or comforted with apples, perhaps the employment of your thumbscrew will not suffice either. The point I'm attempting to make is this one. He might be wooed from his aptitude for death by being happier. And what I was about to suggest, and quite irresponsibly, is that he might be invited to partake in our festivities this evening. No, I see it astonishes you.
As a criminal, the man is a liability. I doubt very much he could supply a farthing towards the cost of his own execution. So you suggest, Chaplain, let him bibulate from glass to glass. Help him to a denial of his guilt and get him off our hands before daybreak gets the town on its feet again.
I'm glad to tell you an idea has formed in my mind, a possible solution.
Sir? If you please.
Well, Richard?
I should like to admit that I've drunk some of the wine put out for the guests.
Well, that's a pretty thing, I must say.
I was feeling low, abominably, about the rowdy street that's getting out of hand, and the prisoners, and certain inner things.
Who is this cub of a boy?
The boy is a silly boy. He's a silly boy. And I'm going to punish him. You are going to scrub the floor. Yes, scrub it. Scrub this floor this evening before our guests put in an appearance. Mulish tasks for a mulish fellow. And take this to the cellars, to whatever splendid fellow is on duty. You will return with the prisoners and tell them to remain in this room until I send for them. You may go, Richard.
Am I to hear your plan, Tyson, or am I just to look quietly forward to old age?
My plan? Ah, yes. Conclusive and humane. The two are brought together into this room. How does that strike you?
It makes a complete sentence. Subject they, predicate are brought together.
Ah, you will say with what object? I'll tell you. We, that is ourselves, The chaplain and my elder nephew shall remain unobserved in the adjoining room, with the communicating door ajar. And how does that strike you?
With a dull thud, Tyson, if I may say so.
I see the idea has eluded you. A hypothetical devil tapper coup, brought into conversation with a witch, a dialogue of hell, perhaps, and conclusive, or one or other by the exchange of words shall prove to be innocent, or we shall have proof positive of guilt. Does that seem good?
Good is as good results.
I should never have thought that you would have done anything so undignified as to stoop to keyholes, Uncle.
No. The door will be ajar, my boy.
Ah, that'll make us up, right? I hear them coming. Come along, Chaplain. Come along.
The ears of them that hear shall hearken. The prophet Isaiah.
Come along, Chaplain.
A drink, Tyson. I wish to slake the dryness of my disbelief.
I mustn't leave my mistress. Where are you, angel? Just where Chuckle had left you.
He wants you to wait here until he sends for you. Oh, if in some way... I wish... No, I must fetch the scrubbers.
I'm not really here. I came from my angel. Foolish way to speak of it, this instrument. May I say a happy issue out of all your afflictions? I hope so. Well, I must be going.
God bless you. In case you sneeze.
Thank you. I may. And God bless you.
How tired I am.
You would think by the holy scent of it our friend had been baptizing the garden. But it's only the heathen rainfall.
Do you think he knows what has been happening to us?
Old angel scraper? He knows all right, but he's subdued to the cloth he works in.
What can you see out there?
Out here? Out here is a sky so gentle, 5 stars are ventured on it. I can see the sky's pale belly glowing and growing big, soon to deliver the moon. And I can see a glittering smear, snail trail of the sun where it crawled with its golden shell into the hills. Darkening land sunken into prayer. Lucidly in dewdrops of one syllable, Nunc Dimittis. I see twilight, madam.
What can you hear?
The howl of human jackals.
Do you mind? I have to scrub the floor.
A good old custom. Always fornicate between clean sheets and spit.
spit on a well-scrubbed floor.
Twilight. Double, treble, in and out. The morning came and left the sunlight on my step like any normal tradesman. But now, every spark of likelihood is gone. The light draws off as easily as though no one could die tomorrow.
Are you going to be so serious about such a mean allowance of breath as life is? We'll suppose ourselves to be caddisflies who live one day. Do we waste the evening commiserating about the unhygienic condition of our worm cases? For God's sakes, shall we laugh?
Was it for laughter's sake you told them you were the devil? Or why did you?
Honesty, madam, common honesty.
Honesty, common with the devil?
Gloriously common. It's evil for once not traveling incognito. It is what it is, the great unspurious.
Thank you for that. You speak of the world I thought I was waking to this morning. But horror is walking around me here, because nothing is as it appears to be. That's the deep water my childhood had to swim in. My father was drowned in it.
He was drowned in what? In hypocrisy?
In the pursuit of alchemy, in refusing to accept your dictum, it is what it is. My poor father, in the end, he walked in science like the densest night. And yet he was greatly gifted. When he was born, he gave an algebraic cry. At one glance, he measured the cubic content of that ivory cone, his mother's breast, and multiplied his appetite by 5. So he matured by a progression, gained experience by correlation, and expanded into marriage by contraction, and by certain physical dynamics formulated me. And on he went, still deeper, into the calculating twilight under the twinkling of 5-pointed figures, till truth became for him the sum of sums, and death the long division. My poor father, what years and powers he wasted. He thought he could change the matter of the world, from the poles to the simultaneous equator, by strange experiment and by numerical parabolas.
Magnificent intention to change the matter of the world. And so he died deluded.
As a matter of fact, it wasn't a delusion. As a matter of fact, when I was dusting his laboratory, I knocked over a crucible, which knocked over another, which rocked a third, and the contents poured and spattered over some copper coins, which 2 days later, by impregnation, had turned into solid gold.
Tell that to some sailor on a horse. If you had such a secret, I and all my fiendish flock, my incubi and succubi, imps and cacodemons, would have leapt out of our bath of brimming brimstone, crying, Eureka, cherchez la femme! Emperors would be colonizing you, their mistresses patronizing you, ministers of state governmentalizing you, and you would probably be lionized, eulogized, and probably even canonized for your divine mishap.
But I never had such a secret. It's a secret still. What it was I spilt, or in what extent, or in what proportion, whether the atmosphere was hot, cold, moist, or dry, I've never known. And someone else can discolor their fingers and tease their brain and spoil their eyesight to discover it. My father broke on the wheel of a dream. He was lost in a search. And so for me, the actual, what I touch, what I see, what I know, the essential facts.
In other words, the bare untruth.
And, if I may say it without appearing rude, absolutely no devil.
How in the miserable world in that case do you come to be here, pursued by the local consignment of fear and guilt? What possible cause?
Your thumbs, I'm sure they're giving you pain.
Listen, by both my cloven hooves, if you put us to the rack of an exchange of sympathy, I'll fell you to the ground. Answer my question.
Why do they call me a witch? Remember, my father was an alchemist. I still amuse myself with simple experiments in my father's laboratory. Also, I speak French to my students. Then you must know that I have a peacock, which on Sundays dines with me indoors. Not long ago, a new little serving maid carrying the food heard its cry, dropped everything and ran, and told all she met that the devil was dining with me.
It really is beyond the limit of respectable superstition to confuse my voice with a peacock's. Don't they know I sing solo bass in Hell's Madrigal Club? And as for you with no ears, no eyes, no senses, you are the most superstitious of all. For what greater superstition is there than the mumbo-jumbo of believing in reality? You should be swallowed whole by time in the way that you swallow appearances. Horns, what a waste of effort it has been to give you creation's vast and exquisite dilemma, where altercation thrums in every granule of the Milky Way, persisting still in the dead sleep of the moon and heckling itself hoarse in that hothead the sun. And as for here, each acorn falls arguing to the earth, and pollen's all polemic. We've given you a world as contradictory as the female, as cabalistic as the male, a conscienceless hermaphrodite who plays heaven off against hell, hell off against heaven, revolving in the great ballroom of the skies, glittering with conflict as with diamonds. We have wasted paradox and mystery on you, when all you're asking for is cause and effect. A copy of your birth certificate was all you needed to put you at peace with creation. How uneconomical the whole thing has been.
This is a fine time to scold me for keeping myself to myself and out of the hands of chaos. I was already in a poor way of perplexity, and now you leave me no escape except on a stream of tears.
Now, none of that. Oh, hell, I beg your pardon. Now that I'm down on my knees, I might as well stay here. In the name of all who were ever drowned at sea, don't weep. I never learned to swim. May God keep you from being my Hellespont.
What I do with my own tears is for me to decide.
That's all very well. You get rid of them, but on whose defenseless head are they going to fall?
I had no idea you were so afraid of water. I'll put them away.
Oh, Pete, I don't know which is worse, to have you crying or to have you behaving like Catherine of Aix, who never wept until after she was beheaded. And then the accumulated tears from a long lifetime suddenly burst forth from her eyes with such force it practically winded 3 onlookers and floated a parish priest 200 yards to the entrance hall of a brothel.
Poor Catherine.
Not at all. It made her life in retrospect infinitely more tolerable. And when she got to purgatory, she was laughing so much they had to give her a sedative.
Why should you want to behave?
Madam, I owe it to myself. But I can leave it until the last moment. It will keep while the light still lasts.
What can we see in this life? Nothing, I think, except flakes of drifting fear.
Nothing can be seen in the thistledown, but the rough-head thistle comes. Rest in that riddle. I can pass to you generations of roses in this wrinkled berry. There. Now you hold in your hand a race of summer gardens. It lies beneath centuries of petals. What is not, you have in your palm. Rest in that riddle. Rest, why not? This evening is a ridiculous wisp of down blowing in the air as disconsolately as dust. And you have your own damnable mystery, too, which, for the moment, I could do well without.
I know of none. I'm an unhappy fact, fearing death. This is a strange moment. To feel my life increasing, when this moment and a little more may be, for both of us, the end of time.
Don't entertain the mildest interest in me, or you'll have me die screaming.
Why should that be? You're afraid of your shadow falling across another light. Shine less brightly upon yourself. Step back into the rank and file of men. You are making yourself a breeding ground for love and must take the consequences. But what are you afraid of? since in a little while neither of us may exist. Either or both may be altogether transmuted into memory, and then the heart's obscure indeed. Richard, there's a tear rolling out of your eye. What is it?
Oh, Fred, I don't know. I've things on my mind.
Not us.
Not only.
If it's a woman, Richard, apply yourself to the scrubbing brush. It's all a trick of the light.
The light of a fire.
And make this woman understand that I am a figure of vice and crime.
Guilty of?
Guilty of mankind. I have perpetrated human nature. My mother and father were accessories before the fact, but there'll be no accessories after the fact. By my virility, there won't. Just see me as I am. Me, like a perambulating vegetable, patched about with inconsequential hair, staring with two small jellies for the beasts of life, balanced on folding bones, my sex, no beauty, but a blemish to be hidden behind judicious rags. I defend myself against pain and death, by pain and death, and make the world go round, so they tell me, by one of my less lethal appetites. Half this grotesque life I spend in a state of slow decomposition, using the name of unconsidered God as a pedestal on which I stand and pray that I'm the best of beasts. Until, under some patient moon or other, I fall to pieces like a cake of dung. Whether a slut would hold this in her arms and put her lips against it.
Sluts are only human. By a quirk of unastonished nature, your obscene, decaying figure of vegetable fun can drag upon a woman's heart as though heaven were dragging up the roots of hell. What is to be done? Something compels us into the terrible fallacy that man is desirable, and there's no escaping into truth. The crimes and cruelties leave us longing, and campaigning love still pitches his tent of light among the suns and moons. You may be decay and a platitude of flesh, but I have no other such memory of life. You may be corrupt as ancient apples. Well then, corruption is what I most willingly harvest. You are evil, hell, the father of lies. If so, hell is my home, and my days of good were a holiday. Hell is my hill, and the world slopes away from it into insignificance. I have come suddenly upon my heart, and where it is, I see no help for it.
You're lost. Both irretrievably lost.
Certainly, the woman has confessed. Spargere oris palmulgum ambiguous. The town can go to bed.
It was a happy idea, eh, Tappercoom? This will be a great relief to my sister and everybody concerned. A very nice confession.
What's this popping noise? Now what's the matter?
Do they think I've confessed to witchcraft?
Admirably. Oh, bother such sadness. You understand, I'm sure, those in authority over us. I would have liked to have been a musician, but as it is, others decreed otherwise. And sin, whatever we might prefer, cannot go altogether unregarded.
Now, now, Chaplain, don't get out of hand. Pieties come later. Young Devise had better go and calm the populace. Tell them faggots will be lit tomorrow at noon.
Have a heart, Mr. Tappercombe. They're hurling bricks.
What do they mean? Am I at noon to go to the fire? Oh, for pity, why must they burn themselves with me?
She has bribed you to procure her death. Graft!
Graft! Oh, the corruption of this town when only the rich can get to kingdom come, and the poor man is left to groan in full possession of his powers. And she's not even guilty. I demand fair play for the criminal classes.
Terrible state of mind. Humphrey, go at once to the gate.
Oh, well, I could but try and dodge.
You didn't try soon enough. Who else is going to cheat me out of my death? We ecclesiastics with the brains in a wife.
Hit me with something else, please.
Exchange it for a heart and hurry off to heaven. Am I dangerous? Will you give me the gallows? Now, Mr. Mayor. Richard, I'll drown him in your bucket. Look, she's falling. Give her air. Water. No fire, do you hear? No fire. How is she, Richard? Oh, the delicate mistiming of woman. She has carefully snapped in half my jawbone of an ass.
Look, life is coming back.
Importunate life. Should have something better to do than hang about in a chronic street corner in dirty weather and worse company.
It is my duty as justice to deliver sentence upon you as well.
Ah,
Found guilty of jaundice, misanthropy, suicidal tendencies, and spreading gloom and despondency, you will spend the evening joyously, sociably taking part in the pleasures of your fellow men.
not until you've hanged me. I'll be amenable then.
Have I come back to consciousness to hear that yet? Richard, help me to stand. You see, preacher to the caddisfly, I've returned to live my allotted span of insect hours. But if you batter my wings with talk of death, I'll drop to the ground again.
Ah, one last concession to your courage and then no more. Gentlemen, I'll accept your most inhuman sentence. I'll not disturb the indolence of your gallows yet, but on one condition. That this woman shall take her share tonight of awful festivity. She shall suffer too.
Out of the question. Quite out of the question. Absolutely out of the question. What?
What? That you shall spend the evening in searching for the bodies of my victims, or else the Lord Chief Justice of England shall know that you let a murderer go free. I'll raise the country.
Do you think I can go in gaiety tonight under the threat of tomorrow? If I could sleep.
That is the heaven to come. We should be like stars now that it's dark. Use ourselves up to the last bright dregs and then vanish in the morning. Shall we not suffer as wittily as we can? Now come, don't purse your lips up like a little prude at the humor of annihilation. I know it's broad, but we're not children.
I am such a girl of habit. I had got into the way of being alive. I will live as well as I can this evening.
And I'll live too, if it kills me.
Well, Uncle, if you're going to let this clumsy-fisted cutthroat loose on the house this evening, why not let the witch go, too?
Foolishly. I can't help but saying it. I would like to see them dancing.
We have reached a decision. Circumstances compel us to agree to your most unorthodox request.
Wisdom at last. But listen, woman. After this evening, I shall have no further interest in the world.
My interest also will not be great, I imagine, after this evening.